our family moved from Munich to this mountain village in Bavaria because Adolf Hitler's birthday came, and his secretary wanted to do something spectacular to build a house on top of a very high mountain, not a dwelling, but a tea house. And I needed an architect to help build an elevator inside of a mountain because there was no room to put a road all the way to the top. And my father was either unlucky or very fortunate to get the commission, and he moved us all from Munich out of the city. And when they went, you learned what they wanted you to know. There were some people outside this very restricted area, and I won't even doubt that even in a little township in Berchtesgaden there were people that had radios that they could draw in, BBC and other informative channels that were saying other things than what we were told. But we were told the Germans are winning and everything is wonderful, and until Hitler made the colossal mistake to go to Russia, and that was the beginning of the end. Once again, I get sidetracked. I get so involved in this thing. All right, after the bombing, and maybe I told you we were excused from school on the 25th of April, and we were rushed up onto the hill, and we had underground bunkers, air raid bunkers. My mother never would go in a bunker. She just, I don't know whether she was claustrophobic or not, but that particular day, she must have had sixth sense, because she went into the bunker with the papers. She had papers ready in the bag, so she grabbed her bag, and she was fortunate enough to think that we had feather beds. You know, we slept with duvets, tossed them all down into the cellar for some reason or other. Everything else was left. So when we came out of our air raid shelters, and my dad found me in the particular one where they brought us to from school, he told me right off the bat, the house is gone, but mother and your sister are fine. Okay. When Dad ran out of provisions, he'd ring and they'd get in touch with me, and I would put on, I get what he wanted, and I had a backpack. And I would start out on foot, because most of the time the snow was heavier at this elevation. And I carried my skis.
Yeah.
I waltzed up there until I couldn't make it anymore on foot, and I put my skis on and waltzed the rest of the way. And because I was so dog tired by the time I get to the parking lot, I was able to turn on the elevator. I went in there and turned a couple of switches, and this machine started up. I felt fabulous. Anyway, and Dad had to, in the evening, I'd stay overnight because he didn't want me to come down the same day, and he would ride down and shut the engine off and scramble up over the snow back into the house. It was interesting life, let me tell you. And then I'd say, I'm not quite so sure, I think it was in 47, that he went up one day, and it was in the spring. And it was March sun melts anything. And the road was, had melted off, and there were guardrails on the most dangerous curves. And they were stone stanchions with big square bowls of wood connecting these, because the precipice was pretty steep down there. Okay, he had a man with him. He was going to make repairs up there, and they were going up the mountainside, and the rocks had cast a shadow, and that was icy. And didn't he get onto the ice with his motorcycle and started sliding right to the edge, and he said to the guy in back, jump, jump, and with that he went over the side. He tumbled and tumbled and tumbled with the motorcycle hitting him once or twice, okay? And when he finally stopped, he called for his buddy, and he didn't answer, so he crawled back up. He had broken ribs, he had a broken shoulder, broken arm, he had a wound in his head, bleeding profusely. But he went up and he found him, and he had died. He had the motorcycle fall on him. Tragic, tragic. He made it on foot, believe it or not, all the way down, and it's 4,500 feet from here down to the valley. And there was an alpine hut where hikers would go to and could stay overnight, and it was open. There was a cook there, and a truck had come to deliver coal. And they said, "What are you gonna do with this man?" "Oh, he ain't gonna make it anyway." So they, believe it or not, they laid him on top of the coal in the bag. Okay, didn't put him in the cab because he was bleeding so much. He was messing up the cab anyway. But he made it. He came through.